Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 97 of the Anatomy of Knitting podcast. My name is Erin, and I'm going to be your host. Today is May 26th, 2016, and I am recording on an, overcast day here in Cork, Ireland. And it's been about a month since I podcasted, and since then I did a lot of trip prep, and we had our trip back to the United States, and now we're back. So, I have some works in progress. I have some stash enhancement. I have a finished object, and I guess I'll talk about the week in review. So let's get started. I have my cup of berries tea in my Jacopatsy's pottery mug. Let's see if I can show you the beautiful swirl. This is a mug we purchased in, it looks like Youghal, but it's pronounced Yule. That's a little village here in Ireland, and so I'm enjoying my berries tea, which is made here in Cork, and it's just a very Irish morning. I'm enjoying being back in Ireland. So, week in review, which will be, I guess, supposedly month in review. We made our trip to the United States. The boys are fantastic travelers. I can't say how much they are fantastic travelers. When we flew this time, so we flew out of Shannon Airport. Gosh, what time did our plane leave? I think it was around noon. And we flew to JFK Airport. So in the first flight, we let the boys watch as much iPad entertainment as they wanted, and then we landed in JFK. I think in the first on the trip over, Malcolm just watched WALL-E on a continuous loop. We had been showing them WALL-E before we had left, and that was his favorite thing. Nathaniel was just about the same. He watched WALL-E once, and then he watched Planes, and then he watched WALL-E on continuous loop until the flight was over. We then had a 6-hour layover in JFK. That was a bit of a tough slog, but we did it. We had an opportunity to try Shake Shack, which is a chain that's in New York City, and I think there's a couple locations all over the world as well. And they're really fresh. They seem really fresh, but they taste really good. Hamburgers and milkshakes made out of frozen custard, and all that kind of good stuff. So we got on our next flight, and Nathaniel, I didn't give him the iPad at all once we boarded the plane, and once we got all buckled in and the plane started, I always have to yawn when I talk to you all. Oh, excuse me. Plane started to push back, and he just did this. So he ended up sleeping through the second flight, as did Malcolm. However, after about an hour and a half, Nathaniel then insisted to be held for the rest of the flight. He wouldn't sleep otherwise. So that was a little challenging, but we got through it, and we arrived in my parents' at PDX at around 11:55, and then arrived at my parents' house around close to 1. So the boys were super happy to see Grammy, Pa, and Uncle Dustin, and they had real big boy beds waiting for them, and so we just went upstairs, threw them in bed, and then woke up the next day. Some highlights of our trip include, we went to OMSI, which is the Oregon Museum of Science and Industry, which the boys really enjoyed. There's a big space of exhibits where they, you can play with, they have these bowls. I'm going to call them bowls, but they're displays, and you can take a wooden ball, and it sort of shows you what orbits are like. So if you throw the ball, there's one bowl with a bunch of holes in it, so you you roll the ball and then it starts to go around these holes and shows you orbits, which I think Nathaniel really liked. And then there was a robot display, which the boys really liked and we had to tear them away from. There was a display of a port with shipping containers and a crane that gets the shipping containers from the ship to the land, which they really enjoyed playing with, and just so much stuff that we also did our first sort of movie experience with them in the planetarium, which they did so well. We're trying to expose them a little more to these types of like movie things because we want to take them to Finding Dory as their first movie. So that comes out for the States. It comes out I think next month, but for us, it comes out in July, I think. And like late July, we have to wait a while for it. Let's see, what else? What other highlights? We rode on a train. After OMSI, we across the street there was this steam train experience we could go on, and so we did that. My husband and I went to a wedding, which was nice, and we had some child-free time, which was amazing. We so the first week we were in the States, my husband was with us in Vancouver, Washington, and we spent some time with his family because his mom had flown up so she could see us because she hadn't seen us since we left the States. What else? So then after that week, he ended up going up to Seattle and working there just so we could have more time off later in the year, because he was planning on his mom being coming for a trip here, so he wanted to ensure that he had plenty of time off. So that second week, I started out with the boys not by myself. I was with my family, but by myself down in Vancouver. And then Wednesday of that second week, I put the boys to bed and I hightailed it up to Seattle. And I had dinner with a friend of mine and his family. And he has a son who's, I think, about 11 months old now. The last time we were in Seattle, he was still cooking inside his mom, so this was my first chance meeting him, and he was an amazing little boy. And I got to stay in the hotel that my husband's company was paying for my husband. We stayed at the Silver Cloud, which is right by the stadiums, the two stadiums. There was a Beyonce concert going on that first night, which made traffic crazy. And but the room was really nice. We were on the 5th floor, and we were facing the water and the viaduct, which is not as pretty, but whatever. But the real good thing about that room is that it had a big 2-person jacuzzi tub, like in the bedroom part. So those 2 evenings, I enjoyed the jacuzzi tub. The second night we were there, during the day I had gone to Lush to find one of those big bath bombs because I thought that would be a nice experience. And it was very luxurious and I enjoyed it. You'll also see I did some things to my hair when we were in the States. You can't really tell all that well here. Let's see if I can aim it down. I did the oil slick hair. So you'll see that there's pink, there's purple, and there's blue and green colors in my hair. This is not really showing up all that great on the computer here, but it looks fantastic in person. I really am enjoying having some interesting hair. I did keep it, natural up here, and then add the color from about here down. So in case I hate it, I can always just cut it off and be okay. So let's see. The last thing of interest is that we did Dozer Days, and this is a thing that goes on in Vancouver. It's run by the Nutter Foundation, and they raise money for a children's charity. I don't remember which one off the top of my head. I should have looked this up. But I think if you look at dozerdays.org, I think that's the website. And that's the opportunity where kids can get into the driver's seats of excavators and backhoes and all sorts of things. And so because my husband and I had been out of town, we hightailed it back down to Vancouver so we could take the boys there. My mom ended up bringing them to Dozer Days, and they were excited to see us, and they were excited to see the excavators and the cement mixers and the backhoes, and they had the opportunity to get into a fire truck and get the headsets on their ears from the fire truck, which was super cute. And we tried to getting in line. I got in line with Nathaniel so he could get on the excavator. What I didn't notice was that the excavator we were in line for was actually a backhoe. And he was so great in line. Like he stood in line and he waited patiently, and he was just an amazing little boy. I had a feeling he would kind of freak out when it was time to go get into the machine, because they take the kids without the parents. Like, the parents stay behind a roped area, and they can see me he could see me the entire time, but he would have been with a stranger in the excavator. But we got to the front of the line, and he pointed to the one that he wanted to go on, and so the lady took him, and she walked him up to the backhoe, and he was like, "Oh, no, I don't want to go on this one." And this is not an excavator. This is a backhoe. I cannot get on this one. So he ended up not doing that, and we then had lunch afterwards, and we didn't try to get them back in an excavator. I thought it would just might be too much for the first year. We'll try again next year. So if you're local to Vancouver, Washington, I completely recommend going to Dozer Days. So let's get on to the knitting stuff. I have a few things. So my finished object I don't have. It was that pair of socks it was that pair of socks that I was working on out of the Shibui Knits sock yarn in I'm going to say the anime colorway. It was blues and greens. I took that with us on the trip. I did not take the knitting on the plane from here to the States, because I thought the knitting needles would get taken away. So, but I took it in our checked luggage, and I worked on those socks, and I finished them, and I gave them to my mom, because apparently all the socks that I've made her, she has blown out. So she needs some new socks, so I gave her some new socks. There's nothing really out of the ordinary with those socks. I think they were 68 stitch socks, knit in the round, inch of ribbing, cuff, slip stitch heel, same old, my vanilla sock that I like to do. So those are done. And because I finished those, I had a feeling that I would when we were in the States, because I wasn't going to be doing any sewing. I usually use my mom's sewing machine and sew while I'm there, but I decided not to this time. So I brought a second skein of yarn. Hello, Lola. How are you? Oh, here's what I have left of the yarn of that anime colorway. So that'll go in for my sock yarn blanket. So I ended up grabbing a skein. This is Socks That Rock, lightweight. And I want to say this is the ST1 colorway, but I am not 100% sure on that. And it's going to take me too long to check. So I think that's what it is. It's Socks That Rock. Lovely colorway. So I cast on another pair of socks. These are my vanilla socks. It's about an inch of ribbing. And then I did a little bit longer cuff on this one. And then the slip stitch heel. And then I've done the gusset, and I'm currently on the foot part. And this is a yarn that has reds and blues and like this dusty green and the gold. So I think this is the ST1 colorway. Socks That Rock is a great, it's a nice yarn to work with. I find that it tends to felt a fair amount when I wash it. It's supposed to be super wash, and I always wash my socks on cold, and usually air dry, sometimes not. But I find that these tend to felt a lot. So I'm kind of working through my Socks That Rock stash, and I'm getting down towards the bottom of it, I think. While I'm talking to you, I'm seeing if I can, because not knowing what colorway this is kind of bothering me. So I am on my stash page. Would it be under B? Blue Moon? Yes. Alright, found it. It is lightweight in, it's the Sock Gate colorway. I knew it had something to do with Sock Summit, but I apparently was not correct in the ST1. Yeah, the Sock Gate colorway. So I really am enjoying how they're turning out. Get back so I can see the screen. I like the way it's pooling or flashing. I don't really know if it's pooling or flashing. I think this is pooling. I like that. So that's that. And because I was in the States at my family's house, before I get to that, I will show you what I've done with the sweater. Whoopsie, sorry, sweetie. That I have been working on. The last time I spoke to you, I believe I had told you that I just picked up for a sleeve for the sweater. And this is the Harvest Cardigan from Tin Can Knits. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. I have done an entire sleeve, alternating my skeins. You can't really tell as much as you can tell on the body. And I have picked up the second sleeve, and I've gotten maybe about an inch and a half. You're supposed to knit for so many inches and then start the decreases for the sleeves. So that's what's been going on with that. I have not picked this up, I think, for about 3 weeks, mainly because I knew I didn't want to take it with us when we travel, because that's a big bulky project, and I don't want to deal with that. I knew I'd be bringing home a lot of stuff, so because we were in the States, I was able to bring back the rest of the yarn for my brother's Christmas present, which is, can you guess what it's going to be? Ta-da! A Doctor Who scarf. I must love him very much. 12 feet of knitting. Ooh. So the bag that I showed you was all of the skeins that I had, and here is the rest of the yarn, and I'm using Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, and this is the current colorway. I'm also using Amber Heather, Thyme, Bramble Heather, Turmeric, there's 2 more colors, Firecracker Heather, and then this kind of tan one, which I can't find the name of, Almond. So this is going well. Since we've gotten home, I've knit about that much, and I'm aiming to get this done sooner rather than later, because I don't want it hanging over me when it gets to be Christmas time. Let's see. While we were in the States, I also got fabric for our Halloween costume / pirate costumes that we're taking on the cruise ship, because we're going on a Disney cruise this September, and they have a pirate night, and so I figured, well, why don't we just be pirates for Halloween, so I can make fantastic costumes again, and, use it more than one night a year. So I ended up, so the boys, Daddy and the boys are going to be wearing, they're going to have a white shirt that's just made out of just some plain white fabric, and they're going to have this dark gray pants, and then they're going to have these coats made out of green velvet, and then I'm going to have a green velvet corset and a white dress, a white broadcloth dress, and there's this skirt that's going to be made with, what's that fabric called? It's not in front of my face, so I can't remember. I'm a little bit jet lagged still, so my brain isn't as quick as it was. It's not lining, but it's a thin silky fabric. So it's going to be an overskirt, and then my jacket's going to be out of this black brocade fabric. And it has I had to buy 28 buttons because it's going to have buttons everywhere. It's just going to be fantastic. So I have to get started on that pretty soon because we're going on this cruise in early September. I have to have it done before then. So that shall be my goal for over the summer, is to get all our costumes done. Finally, I do have some stash enhancements. When I was going to get my hair done, there is a yarn store that's right by the haircutting place. I want to say it's Wolf Fiber Arts. Let me just double check. Vancouver Yarn. Hi, Scout. It is... Apparently it is not coming up. Oh, it's because it's Vancouver, BC. Vancouver, Washington. Urban Wolves Fiber Arts, and this is on Northeast 5th Avenue, right by the haircutting place. My mom suggested that I go and check it out, so I did. And they had a pretty decent selection. I decided to come home with some Sweet Georgia yarns, because I can never resist Sweet Georgia. And this is her Tough Love sock, and it is in the Stella colorway. So the Tough Love sock is superwash and nylon, superwash wool and nylon, and so there's that. And I love this pink and blue, and it's just so pretty. So pretty. I love her color sense. For those of you that don't know, the Sweet Georgia dyed the yarn that I used for, especially dyed the yarn that I used to make my wedding veil. So that purple wedding veil that I have was dyed by her, which was fantastic. And I'm forever grateful to Felicia from Sweet Georgia for doing that. Let's see. I think that is all the knitting stuff. Yes, Scout. I am talking to the people on the internet. You have to be patient. So that comes to the last thing that I wanted to talk about. And that is I'm going to be making some changes to the podcast because, things have been crazy here. And I know that last time that I spoke to you, it was right before the committee meeting happened to decide who's doing what jobs for the southern branch of the Irish Patchwork Society, and, well, I am now in charge of the southern branch of the Irish Patchwork Society. I'm the chair, and so because of that, I think I need to take just a step back from a couple of things so I don't spread myself too thin. So what that means for the podcast is I'm not shutting down the podcast permanently. At least I don't think so. But what I am doing is I am going to not be on Libsyn anymore. I'm not going to have that hosting service, and I think I'm just going to go to YouTube and just post all of my episodes and stuff over on YouTube. There's a few reasons for that. Financial, and because I'm not working anymore, and I haven't been working for almost 4 years. I need to start kind of trimming some financials, because I've been paying for the podcast using the money that I've saved from that, and that money is almost gone. So, yeah, I'm just gonna do it on YouTube. I think I'll see if I can investigate if I can change the feed for the podcast on iTunes to just get it from YouTube. I'm not sure I can. So, and my recording schedule is probably going to be a lot less frequent. Part of me is wondering if I should just shut down the whole podcast, because I've been doing this. See, I started the podcast after my husband and I got married, and we just celebrated our 7th wedding anniversary. So that's 7 years that I've been doing the podcast, and there's just so many other podcasts that are coming up. It's that maybe my voice isn't really needed anymore. Although I like sharing with you kind of this living in Ireland part, because that's something that's pretty unique, which is why I think I'm just going to continue on YouTube. So I think when so I'm going to post this today, and then the next June 1st is when my hosting fees are due next. I think maybe I think there's an option that it will hold all the shows, but I can't upload anything new. I think I'll do that for about a month, so everybody who hosts or who gets their podcast from iTunes can get this last episode, and then I will turn off that subscription, and then I'll just go straight to YouTube, I suppose. I don't know exactly how often I'll be able to podcast. Over the summer, I should be able to kind of continue maybe the every other week schedule for a little bit. But once the summer's over, because the IPS takes time off during the summer, once the summer is over and I'm doing this whole hog, and the boys are going to school, and it's just going to be busy next year. I think I need to just kind of let this go a little bit. So please subscribe to me on YouTube. That way you can get your updates that way. I will continue to post the episodes the way that I've done on Ravelry, by including that window on the page there. And yeah, I think that's it. I like sharing with you all the things that we're doing here, and how things are different here. So I will continue to do that, and I just don't feel like I get a lot of knitting done to justify recording so often. So anyway, let's see how things kind of pan out over the next few months. Again, please go over to YouTube and subscribe to me that way. I'm no longer going to be posting things to iTunes, and that's mainly because it's a cost thing, and I can't afford to do that anymore, because my money is running very low. But it's pretty good that my money has lasted this long, so 4 years. So I want to thank you all for being with me all of these 7 years. It's kind of been a hard decision to decide to let this go, but I think it's going to be good for it's going to give more opportunities for me to do other things that may be exciting as well. And I will be still posting things on YouTube, but not on iTunes anymore. So with that bombshell sort of dropped, I will have some photos from our trip after the episode, like I usually do. And yeah, I think that's it. So I shall see you all over on YouTube, and I want to thank you for listening and watching me all of these years. And yeah, have a good week, and I'll probably see you in maybe a month, maybe a few weeks. We'll see. We'll just see how things pan out and what kind of knitting progress I get done. So, all right, bye.
Gonna save Jay. Bubble chase. Rockies on the sky. Away. Paw Patrol. On double. Truck. On a top post. I see a bus stop. No. Go Paw Patrol. Uh-oh. Paw Patrol. Uh-oh. Paw Patrol.